to 2013, I moved here.
Yeah.
What happened was Michelle, she said, if something happens, Mom, I'm an hour away, you know, and I had an up and down house.
Yeah.
You could fall with the laundry, you could do anything, you know. So finally, I said, all right, I'm ready to move. And it was God's will, because I'm going to tell you something. She called the realtor. And the house, I think she talked to them on Thursday. On Friday, it was sold.
Wow.
So she called and she said, we're going to have to call Russell and tell him to put your house on the market. And someone drove by on Saturday morning. They didn't stop, and I said, So about an hour later, the realtor called and said, can we show you a house on Sunday? Monday it was, so it was God's will, right?
It was meant to be.
I mean, 3 days, because I said to Gregory, I'm going to put the house on for sale, so you won't be able to come up and stay, because they would come up for like a couple of weeks or a month. I would have Caitlin or something, and I called him like 3 days later and said, Gregory, the house is gone. He said, it won't sell by the summer. He said, it'll still be on the market. But it just zoomed away. So it was meant. So.
I remember it was about that time, because that's when Uncle Al really started to go downhill. I think it was 2012, 2013, you were telling me.
Well, he was, he was 4.5 years in the nursing home. And he had, just before he went in there, he had this carotid artery would like squish together, and he would pass out, and the ambulance would come and they'd bring him up there, and they couldn't find out what it was, because it wouldn't happen while he was in the hospital.
Of course.
So it was like a week, 10 days before they diagnosed it, and they said it was all wrinkly because it's supposed to be straight.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, so they cut it. Then he was okay for a while, but the Parkinson's did a number on him. And we kept saying, well, what, like, Brian has Parkinson's. Brian looks wonderful. He was on death's door.
That's what I heard.
Like 6 months ago, and they changed his meds, and he looks wonderful now. And he could talk, and he could walk, because he couldn't.
That's
he couldn't.
incredible. Yeah.
It is him, because I couldn't believe it was him, because he could talk. He couldn't talk. He couldn't walk without a walker. So, and he's only Gregory's age.
Oh, wait, yeah.
He's
50.
I think he's even a little bit younger than Gregory. Yeah. Well, Gregory's 66, so he'll be 52 in August. So, yeah, he was my miracle baby. We were married for 10 years before we had any kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were married at 18.
I was 28.
A lot of time went by before you did.
I was 28. So I used to say, Gregory, God expects a lot from you, because it took that long for you to come in. I don't know if he still does, but he used to do a good deed every day. Like, I remember I was in the car with him one time, and this guy was on his front lawn. I didn't know what the heck he was doing. Gregory stopped the car, backed up, jumped out of the car, and he banged his, I think it was for sale sign or something. He banged it in the ground for him because he couldn't do it. He was too old. And he jumped back in the car, and he said, I try to do something good every day. So, yeah. And I said, I'm not supposed to be here. My mother had her, well, they didn't do their tubes, but they said they tied them, not cut them, because she had the baby, the only boy she had, she fell down the stairs and she was damaged inside, and they said, you won't have any more kids now. 10 years later, here I am. So I said, there's a reason. It took so long for her to have me. Why was I born? And then it took me so long to get Gregory.
Exactly, same pattern.
But
and then after Greg came Jeanette and Michelle, right?
Oh yeah. Well, Jeanette, I remember going to the doctor saying, he's a year old, I'm not pregnant. Does that mean I'm not going to be able to have any more kids? And like 3 minutes later, I was pregnant. So, but the girls are only 14 months. Because I just figured I was gonna have a hard time again, but it was,
Brenda is December 6th, 1968. So Jeanette is...
she's young.
Yeah.
Jeanette is September 22nd, 68.
Oh, okay. So
They're the
within,
same, yeah.
by a few months.
Poor Jeanette. I really feel bad because she has a hard life. I mean, the boy takes a lot out of her.
The what is it? Autism. I was thinking of the word. Okay.
Yes.
It really,
And,
that's tough. That's
you know what's scary, because Zachary and Robert are only 2 weeks apart, and they were progressing the same. And then all of a sudden, Robert started withdrawing. He didn't want to be held. He didn't want this. And to this day, I mean, they tell me it's not that. He had the shots, and they had the one that was 6 in 1. And after that, he started deteriorating.
They say that. They're saying that a lot
And they
of
kept saying no, it was not.
autism is not an issue with the Amish because they don't get inoculated.
Yeah.
Saying,
We did to death, at least in my generation.
yeah.
By the grace of God, nothing happened.
But you know something? I think it was Catherine's communion, and we were in the church in Medford, where she lives, and there were at least 3 or 4 other little kids, just like Robert, and they had the same thing. And I said, to me, that was, I would say, a batch of the vaccination, because don't they preserve that in lead?
Yes.
You're right, yes.
And I
And
kept,
now the flu shots had mercury in it. So
I never take them. I have not.
I have been, and I've not had the flu since I started getting it.
I'm 80 years old. I never had the flu, and I've never had I've had colds. You know.
My last flu was in '08.
Yeah.
08 was a bad one, but I haven't had it since, so I don't know if I have built up immunity. I got nervous this year because of tax season, and I didn't get the flu shot
Oh
this year.
yeah.
I did not get it, so luckily I didn't get it.
So you're still doing the count?
I'm a CPA, I'm still doing it.
I'm gonna bug your flower.
My-
I'm gonna plug it right there.
Oh my goodness! There's a big black spider on my flower. I don't know where it came
Tell me
from.
about Grandpa. You gotta tell me about your father.
My father?
Because I can't find anything other than birth certificate and stuff like that. I'm trying to find him from his artist years when he moved to Florida. When did he move to Florida?
Oh, I think I was 5. No, I was older than that, because he left. They separated when I was 5, and I can remember I had to be young, and I used to have to go over to what he called Harley's studio. He used to design patterns for like bedspreads and stuff. He would make
Really?
the flowers. Yeah,
And who did he work for?
there was him and his brother Harry, and they called it Harley Studios. Papa was the artist. I don't know what Uncle Harry did.
That was
And
set up.
I-
What year was that? What's your guess?
All right, 30, 38, maybe 47. 47, maybe 46, 47, 48. But I used to have to go and get $10 a week was the support. And it was not that far from the house. And I would go over and he would give me the support money. And then he moved to Georgia. And then he moved to Florida.
We're in Georgia.
Don't know.
All I
Isn't that
remember is the
awful?
pictures with the palm trees and all you lined up.
But he did do the Miami skyline at the World's Fair in New York City.
Yes, that's right.
He was commissioned to do that. I don't know whatever happened to that. And in the Fontainebleau, which is probably not there anymore in Florida, he did a mural on the wall. It could be painted over. Who knows? I mean, it's a long time ago. If he did that in the 50s, before I was married.
Because I remember he also did Got Sand in My Shoes.
Yes.
Right.
That's
and
where
stuff.
it came from.
He did a lot of pictures. He did a lot of artwork for Florida.
Right.
But I joined the Florida Art Commission and this and that.
Couldn't find nothing.
Nothing.
Now, I wish I knew the church that he used to go to. It was not. It was the Church of Poland of some, but it was a Polish.
Like a Polish National Catholic Church?
Yes, something like that. And he used to do repair work. Like I remember him when I went down, because I stayed one summer a week with him, and he was repairing a wooden statue of St. Anthony, and he was making the pieces and fitting it and stuff like that. He did a lot of artwork for the church, and I used to say, Papa, what are you doing? You trying to buy your way to heaven? And he'd say, don't be so smart. But yeah, I had a lot of a nice time when I
So
went.
he was highly successful as an artist.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think he made a lot of money with
Now
it.
he sold a lot of the artwork, right? But where did he sell it to besides the Scott? Because I'm just trying to.
Everybody, you know, just like you don't even know like health things. People didn't talk about health things.
Right.
They didn't talk about money or like they do today. It's very free, and you know, he was very personable, and I'm wondering if I got my outgoing yakking, because my mother was quiet, and because I never seen so many cars in my life as in his funeral in Florida. I mean, there was blocks and blocks of cars. Everybody knew him, and I remember he used to take me out to dinner, and I don't remember the people because it was like 65, 64, before he died.
Just before he died.
Well, he died in 65, so it had to be like 62, 3, whatever.
Right.
And everybody knew Leo. They loved him. They thought he was wonderful. So
It's just sad because I see you at 80, Mom at 90. If we got to know Grandpa at that age, we would have known a little bit more about
That's
him.
right,
Well,
yeah.
that's why it's like I got a piece because I've been trying to find this, and you would think by now this stuff would be online.
Online.
and it's
nothing,
It's
nothing.
not.
Now see,
Not. Or I'm not looking right.
yeah. Oh, you wanted me to hold that? Okay. I'm sorry. You know, 80 years old, you got to give me leeway. You know. So I had just gone to the doctors, and we were chit-chatting away and everything. And I said, "Oh, my body's falling apart." I keep calling for a 1960 model, but they say they're all out, and so I'm stuck. And they don't have parts to change for a 38 model. So she was.
58 original.
Yeah.
I got all my original parts.
Me too. I don't have anything.
So Walter, Chris, they're
Telling you,
We're
right?
all up there.
Oh my God! But I can't believe that I'm this old because I figured, you know, you retire, you collect maybe 4 or 5 years, 6 years, and you die, right? And I said I'm still here.
you use your sister
It's
as a
remo-
gauge.
Yeah.
Pauline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
Now and Mickey,
Only the good die young.
well, she was not a happy person, I don't think. And I think when she was in the nursing home, they were giving her, I call her Lala pills, relaxers, and they loved her because they thought she was so mild, and you know. And I said they should have seen her when,
Oh, see.
you know.
Now, Greg was telling us, right?
Who? What? Oh, Greg.
Greg.
He was saying that she had
Bipolar.
bipolar,
I didn't know she was.
I didn't know that either.
I did not know
Yeah.
she
which
was
is
bipolar.
But-
probably why she was so moody.
And I really feel sorry. Tommy did a lot of stuff for her.
He did.
And sometimes when they would come, because they would look in the refrigerator and get her oranges and yogurt and stuff, and make sure that she had stuff, because she ate downstairs in the dining room all the time. And one time they were late because there was a snowstorm, so they came the next week. She ripped into him, I'm telling you. Oh my God. And she was yelling at them. And poor Sharon, you have to give her credit. She never got upset. You know, I don't think she ever yelled at Aunt Mickey. But Aunt Mickey would be fresh. So she would get up and go out of the room probably. But Mickey I remember Jeanette, she had, her hair was longer and she had a haircut and it looked like a Dutch girl sort of thing. It was really cute. And we were at some function and she goes over to Jeanette and goes, "Oh, I hate that haircut." And we were in a place with all these people. And I said, I never used to talk back to her, but in my old age I got, and I said, you know, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Because it made her feel bad. It really, she was only a teenage kid.
Well, that's nothing. Yeah.
You know, you don't say that, especially when you're a teenager and you're insecure.
Yeah.
And so someone said you look ugly, you're never going to wear that dress again.
Yeah.
Or have your hair that way, you know. But I can remember calling her up saying, come for the holiday. And I'm not coming up. No. And I said, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to Susie's? No, to Pauline's? I'm not going there. Susie's going there. So whatever. Do what you want.
We seen Aunt Mickey maybe twice growing up.
Yeah.
And she lived on Long Island, not far from where Aunt Sue lived at the time.
But she was very, very crap. Well, I asked her to be godmother for Jeanette. And she refused. How many people do you ever know
Refuse a godparent.
right? I mean, what do you do? You don't have to do anything unless the parents died, you know. And we weren't planning on dying, so. But she was mean. She was mean, and I remember making the christening outfit for Al. I think it was Alex, and
Yes.
she sewed wonderful, and
We still have it too.
yeah. But this is one for Gregory's first child. I made the christening outfit, and I made the hat. You had to do it inside out. It was really hard. I had to sit there and think. And when it was all done, I was so proud of it. And I said, "Oh, Mickey, look at this. I made. You know, I wanted her approval." She goes, She said, "I sew better than that." And I thought, wow. What a good kick in the rear end that was. So she was always like that. And I used to feel bad. I'd say, well, she's alone. Let me call her up and see, you know. Then you give up after a while.
But looking back in retrospect, it's like, why did she stay in that house years after Uncle Stanley died?
Because sometimes people make a shrine to them, or
Yeah.
that's their devotional to that person.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a ranch. It was easy to take care of. She didn't want to go into a nursing home, or she wasn't ready for that. But this is what was very surprising to me, because she used to say, I say, oh, I have to go clean out my freezer and move the older stuff to the front, you know. And she says, well, I put everything and I mark it with a pen on the paper, what the dates and everything. And she said, I rotate. When she died, Tommy said he found food that was 10 years old. 10 years. Okay, Big Bill. Take care. Okay.
Great to see you. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
Thank you.
These are my two nephews, my sister's boys. And this is going to be my, what do we call you, a niece-in-law?
Niece-in-law.
Just a niece.
Yeah. Right.
Just a niece. Yeah, yes. So, anyway, take care, Bill. We'll see you Monday.
Tell me a little bit more about Harry.
Yeah, Uncle
Now,
Harry.
he wasn't our uncle.
He was our great uncle. He was Grandpa Leo's brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't know too much about Uncle Harry because I was the last of the Mohicans. Like, I know very little Polish, but I think your mother could speak some words. And I know
the
Paul.
swear words.
But all right, but Pauline. Well, we all knew the swear words. You know, I did the chart. Kolyeta Zabral.
Yeah.
You know, and they're really not bad. One is like the devil should take you, or, you know, or a yak could go on, whatever. It wasn't like.
Kolyeta.
What was Kolyeta?
That's like a devil.
Oh, because
Kolyeta Zabral is the devil should take you.
that's why Mark knew a Polish guy who said, "No, don't ever say that word."
Kolyeta,
That's
yeah.
what-
And a did the chart.
Oh, I didn't.
A did the chart is go to you know. So,
Wow.
but I knew Jinkuya, Dubronitz, Meshuggah. Oh no, Meshuggah.
Meshuggah, yeah.
That's Jewish.
Yeah,
well,
that's
there was a lot
Meshuggah
of
cup.
Yiddish, too.
Yeah.
Joel will know that one.
Yeah. Jechi is children. Yanya Znaya. If you don't know what the heck the people, you say Panya? Panya Mayash? That's, do you understand? You go, Yanya Znaya. I don't, you know. I only knew a few little things.
I think Aunt Julie knew the most because she grew
Well,
up.
Aunt Julie and Pauline, and I think Zusha Susie.
Yeah.
Now, what was Bogowini? That was a
Oh
witch,
my
right?
God, that was Bogowini was a witch that stole children and killed them. I'll tell you this story. I don't know if I ever told you this one. Grandma had gone downstairs, or she was out. She said, "Don't open the door for anybody unless you know who it is." So I said, "Okay." I was young, and so we had a little bell. So she rings the bell, and I said, "Who is it?" So your mother was being funny. So she goes, "Baba Yaga." I said, "Baba Yaga," and I put the bar on and the lock, and I couldn't unlock it if I was young, so she couldn't get in the house. But see, next door's bedroom and our bedroom had a fire escape, so your mother had to go in the window. And she was mad, she was yelling at me. So I remember my mother saying, "What's the matter with you, you stupid nut? She's not going to let the witch that steals kids in." You know? But I remember being so scared. I must have been maybe 7 years old.
Very impressive.
And it was scary. Baba Yaga was not a good person. So, I don't know I'm sorry that I don't know more Polish and
This
stuff.
is more than we knew.
This is more than we knew.
Yeah. But I can remember when I was little, because Papa left when I was 5, and the
That
top.
must have been hard, huh?
I remember sitting on the bed saying, "You're never coming back?" And he said, "No," and I was crying. And they had, I don't know, let's face it, Papa was a womanizer, okay? He had lots of, but that was
Papa
the
was a Rolling Stone.
that was the European way. You had your wife and your family, and you never thought you were going to leave your wife and family, but you still diddle-daddled around, you know? And it was acceptable in Europe. It was not
Kennedys.
Yeah, but like anybody.
Yeah.
And, well, Trumpy dear. So, anyway,
But your mother spoke it fluently, I would guess.
you think my mother could speak good English?
Yeah.
She spoke broken English.
Yeah.
But she spoke Russian, Polish, a bunch of other stuff.
Wow.
She had a little bit of French, because when she was little, as far as I know, and I tell the same story over and over. I don't embellish on it. I don't make it any better. My grandfather had lots of land, and I call it a farm, but who knows what they called it. And he raised horses and trained cavalry. You didn't know that.
Can I put something out that's kind of controversial?
Yeah.
I think we have Jewish blood in us, but
You think we do?
when I was looking at the photographs of these families in the wall in the Holocaust Museum, I saw, in your family photos where you have some of the other, everything from the.
I'm gonna do our
from the bone
DNA, honey.
structure, from our nose structure, and
Yeah, but-
I really see it. I saw
Now,
it.
I'll tell you my...
Not everybody,
No.
but maybe like a percentage.
Well, what I'm going to say is, I did it, and Caitlin, my Mark's
I was
Yeah.
going to
daughter
ask this,
did.
yeah.
So
What did
here,
you come up
here
with?
is my results. Now you got to figure my father. Now I'll tell you the background on my dad. My dad came from. We traced
Ukraine,
Dad from Grodno, which was White Russia, but we also know he came from Ukraine.
Yeah.
And his mother was from the extreme northeast part of Poland. But when you look on today's maps, it's from here to Manchester to Lithuania.
Yeah.
So when I had my DNA test, I was floored.
Yep.
56% Lithuanian.
Wow.
And I think a lot of that's Dad.
Yeah.
And some of it might still be on your side. So you might.
Making me sick.
So 56%. Now this is a bigger shock until I did some research. 21% Balkan. And I'm like, that's Yugoslavia. How the heck did we get Yugoslavia? I did some research. Long story short, southern Poland, which was Austria, was
Right, oh.
inhabited by a group called the White Croats. So my guess is Grandma Annie Sherbady might be of the White Croats.
Yeah.
They lived in Poland, spoke Polish,
And
and the religion was the same.
Okay, now Papa Papa was really
one second.
Russian Orthodox.
Yes.
And my mother was Roman Catholic. And if I would have been a boy or any of them they would have been Russian Orthodox.
Any of the boys.
Yes.
But
Because they didn't care about girls. Girls were,
Yeah.
they only needed them to make babies. They didn't care about them. So you could be Roman Catholic, it didn't matter. But
Now, third place, 13.5% was Ukraine, Russia, and Poland.
Right.
That area.
no black and no American Indian.
Yeah, but you know what? No Mongolian, but Mark has it.
Mark has Mongolian.
Mark's daughter Caitlin tested. So getting back to what we were saying.
Oh, but that could be on his mother's side.
56% is Lithuanian, 21% was Balkan Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Only 13.5% is Russian Polish, which was shocking. I thought it would be much, much higher.
Yeah.
Then, this is
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Nice seeing you.
Thank you for coming.
Take care.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Give me a little kiss on the cheek. I'm a grandma. You can. Okay?
All right. All right. See you
Nice
guys.
meeting
Nice
you.
meeting you as well. See you.
Okay.
Now the last two, 5.5%
Yep.
Scandinavian. Now I did research,
All right.
and Lithuania, which if you take my first block, was once settled by the Swedes.
Yeah,
So
I
wouldn't
believe
be-
it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dad had some Swedish in it.
Yeah. Well, Mickey used to
Well,
say
she used
that,
to
Mom.
say that-
She used to say that's not true, and I'm like, well, if you look at a map, it could be true.
It-
right?
But I heard
Was.
Uncle Harry say that there's
Uncle
Mongoloid in our family.
There
Not
is
Mongoloid, but Mongolian. Mongoloid is.
Is a I know what you mean.
Well, I don't know what it means. So
Yeah.
I'd have to.
It's a child that
And then
their
last-
faces look different.
Okay.
They used
There
to
was
call them
another
Mongoloid.
term for
Okay,
Down
then-
syndrome back long,
Oh,
long
I didn't know that.
But
yeah.
Mongolian, if you look at, there's a
I do think,
photo
yeah.
of some relatives that they look like they're from
Well, that's
Harry.
way east.
That's Papa's
Way east.
mother.
Yeah.
That one where she looks like an American Indian almost.
Great
Dark.
Grandma Rose was a Mongolian.
Yeah.
Now I didn't test positive for Mongolian, but Caitlin did. So I bet you if Mark did the test, he would come up with the. For some reason.
What about Mark's wife? Is she Polish?
She's Irish
Oh,
and French.
she doesn't have Mongolian.
No, she's all Western Europe.
Yeah, yeah.
And last, 3.9% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
How did that
Who's
happen?
Irish Scottish?
I'm going to tell you where I think that came from.
Where?
The Balkan Peninsula
Yep.
and Galicia. There's history behind this. The Croatian people had some Celtic in them.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, if you're from Yugoslavia, you've got some Celtic.
Of course, yeah.
Now
Because if you go way back, way back.
All right, Michelle, we have to do this. I'm going to have you and me and Kate, Izzy.
All right, we're in.
I'm going to do
Oh,
it.
but let me just finish. What I'm saying is
That'd be cool. I'd love
Galicia.
to see your results.
Because I always said I was Polish, but I
Galicia,
think my father was
where
really Russian.
Austria, where
I
Grandma
really
came
think.
from, that's not Russian, that's not Austrian, that's not. Galicia is a Celtic
Yeah,
term.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Galicia.
Right there, because we're not really Polish. We're not really, we're like right in Australia or whatever it was at that time.
Yeah.
Tell me about the horses and.
Oh yeah, we were
Oh,
talking
that's
about
right.
horses.
Yeah, well, my mother's father, they raised horses, and then they trained the cavalry to ride these horses or whatever. And he had to be in military because he said a war was coming. He was too old to stay. He was just going to go to America for 5 or 6 years, sit out the war. This is World War I. Okay, and they came in 1914, and if I'm not mistaken, she came on the Lusitania and went back.
It got bombed.
That's when it was full of all that artillery, and they bombed it. Because she kept saying, I came on the Titanic. I said, you didn't come on the
You
Titanic.
never would have made it.
Because she said, but there was a big T. So I was looking and looking and looking, and it was the Lusitania that she came on. And she didn't come through, because everyone always says, through Ellis Island. You didn't go through Ellis Island if you were first class.
You didn't.
And my grandfather, they came first class. They had money. And the reason my mother was promised to Leo Petrosky was they needed the money, and my father, Leo Petrosky, was a Viscount. Okay.
Yeah, tell us about that.
John, actually, it was John Petrosky was Papa's father. So they promised Papa when he was 6 years old to my mother when she was 6 months old, and they paid the dowry early.
I don't know what that means.
So I can remember when she was saying when they came to get her, to claim her.
So he was a Viscount, and he was.
I used to say to him, "You were an airplane, Papa," because it was a Viscount, you know.
But he was. I thought that was in Austria. That's what I was told.
Well, he was Polish or Russian, whatever it was. He said he was Polish, but I'm thinking because of sentiment, people didn't want to be Russian.
They didn't want to call it, but he was Russian Orthodox, so he might have.
Well, yeah. Well, what are they? They also called it Greek Orthodox.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the same. It's the same church.
So there's no claim for us to take, right?
No, because you know what would have happened? Uncle Harry's son Eugene would have become the Viscount because Uncle Harry had Victoria and Eugene. So Eugene would have been the Viscount, and because we had no boys.
That's right. So it passed to them.
See, the baby before me, the one that she was 8 months pregnant and fell down the stairs with, was the only boy.
Oh.
So
that was like 19. Wow.
So I'm sure when I came out 7, 8 years later, they were not very happy to see it was another girl. You know, they were looking. In fact, they weren't looking for anything because they told her she couldn't have any more. You know, because she fell, I guess, and damaged inside or whatever. They don't tell you much when you're young and long ago. Just like if you had, what the heck was it?
My heritage. I don't know if I can.
Cancer. They go, or what was the thing that they used to tell you, which was like the flu? Oh, are we all even? That's a cute dress, honey. But it's still cute.
He's had all the inventions and stuff. He's
Very
a good source to look up and maybe.
But he's dead, honey.
No, I know.
Yeah. And I don't know what I don't know what Eugene would know. Eugene Petrosky. He wrote. He used to have credits on TV. Like I'm gonna say what detective show? A detective show or something. I don't even remember. And at the end, when they would roll the credits, it would say Eugene Petrosky. So I don't know if he was a writer.
Well, it's funny. We were watching the new Odd Couple. I think it was the Odd Couple.
Yeah.
And Zachary noticed it. Chris Plord was one of the creative writers.
Right.
Plord.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
He
access
is
it if I can get the
I don't know.
password.
I didn't look into it.
But this is on Al's side, Uncle Al.
Chris Plord.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
What?
Chris Plord is a writer for the Odd Couple, the new
Yeah,
Odd
there
Couple.
was the new Odd Couple. I think it was the new Odd Couple. I don't think it made it to
Now I'm
another
gonna look
season.
him up on Facebook.
I said I meant to look up to see if it was
I don't know if I'm
who he
doing
was
it right.
too, but
Well,
Zachary
see, my
noticed it.
frustration is I can't find anything on Grandpa.
Oh, yeah, it's hard. We saw him when we came through Ellis Island. His name is on the registry
But
there.
I don't think that's the right one because Papa was born in 1896. I do know that in August. 20-something. I can't remember the.
When did he come here?
My mother came at 14. I think my father came around that time.
I think it was a 1914 day
But
on Ellis Island.
Papa was also. I don't know what because he said they listed them as like maybe a farmer or something. I don't remember.
No, that's not what it is.
But Papa, my father's father worked also for like a nobleman, a Russian nobleman. He was like his
Not now.
private secretary. I don't know what the he did his.
Set up is the way
He followed him around and kept records and stuff.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't-
Gilman or something. Yeah.
Whatever
I
they
know
call them.
I'm pretty sure it was him, because I think it was 1914.
I'm not sure if that's gonna take-
Was the date that
I don't wanna
said he was
mess
there,
with
and
it.
then it even said how much money was in his pocket.
How much did he have?
It was
You need to be listening
like a. Gregory might know better. I think it was like I want to say like $1,000.
That's a lot of money back then.
It was
Yeah.
$900,000, something like that. It was
Yeah,
a lot.
a lot of
It was
money.
a lot. And but I can't remember what they listed his trade as. I want to say it was bookkeepers.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense, though.
What do they call it? Like a social secretary or whatever.
Whatever.
He
I
did.
think it was
He
like a book-
took care of finances and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's what.
Purser.
Might have been something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But it's in Ellis Island. I mean,
See,
well,
now my
we looked at the
mother's-
re-
yeah.
We looked at the registry. Ellis Island wasn't there the last time. It was not yet open. So that's been a couple years now because Ellis Island is open now. So we need to go back through and see.
Well, it's
Because
all
we got this-
online.
It
That
is
would be all
online. It is
online, too,
online,
yeah.
yeah. That's how we looked it up when we were there.
Now, do you have the correct spelling of mom? Because it was CZ something or other. I have the correct spelling on my baptism.
Okay.
Because my mother's name, Aunt Mickey thought her name was actually Sherby. I said, that is the Americanized,
It's always
cannibalized name.
Crouching. Oh, man.
Oh.
We kept hitting dead ends.
Oh, I found.
Now, how did you
I
find the
found
correct spelling?
It's KRAWCCUK.
Yeah.
And we found that it came from a place called Grodno, which today is Belarus, and it is right next to Lithuania. I mean,
Okay.
it's like from here to maybe Manchester to
right.
Lithuania.
Yeah.
So,
But it just, trying to find all of this. Now, Petrosky is PIOTRO?
WSKI, right.
No variations.
As far as I know, that
His
because
father was always
Been-
Leo or Leopold.
Leopold John Petrosky. And
Oh,
his
Leopold.
father,
Trying to find him like with his artist work.
but his father was John. His father was John Leopold, and then Papa was
now
Leopold
our
John.
own's changed.
And if I would have been a boy, I would have
Our
been
last name.
John Leopold.
instead of Jean Lenora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's Leonora
Yeah.
Papa's,
Get it.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
for Papa. So
So there's 3 cars outside, aren't there? You came in your car, right?
yeah, yeah. We're talking genealogy. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have my
Now mine,
DNA?
it's what I did was myheritagedna.com.
Well, they said because it's always $100, and it was marked down to
123andMe or something.
69.
23andMe
It
is
was-
what my niece had.
It says $69 special.
Oh, they do have specials.
So I figured, well, if I did mine, and then Michelle's, and then Izzy, we could see how the lines went. So,
Yours, I want to know for sure.
I would love to know, yeah.
but I always thought we were all Polish. But then afterwards, I said, I think Papa just used to.
Those lines changed so much. Poland was just
It was
constantly in flux.
invaded,
Yeah.
invaded all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't expect to find this much Baltic.
But
Yeah.
all the words that I know that I learned as a kid, they tell me they're Russian.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dubranets,
Yeah.
Detroit,
None of this surprises me, though.
you know. But I figured it's because, you know how like if you're in a mixed area, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just like I grew up, I know Jewish words, I know Italian words, I know all the swears in Jewish and in Italian, okay?
Watch what I say in the office.
And then in Italian, I know Bella giornata per fare amore. You know what that is? It's a beautiful night for making love. Why do I know that as a little kid, right? Crazy, crazy.
Oh, I knew a Rosalind Plord who was once the director of CPAs, State Society of CPAs in Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Rosalind Plord.
Well, I do have the Plord, what do you call it? Family tree. I have the whole family tree to 1600 when they first came. The first ones were Renee and Jeanette, and they came from, I'm going to say like the Mediterranean part of.
Yeah, I have one.
Greg told me.
Yes,
it
you
was
have it too.
I have two, yeah.
Right, right.
What?
What'd you say?
Greg said it was west of Paris. You're saying it's more closer to the Mediterranean.
I think
No, it's on
Our family is west of Paris.
it's on the coast.
It's on the
it's on the coast, I know.
on the northwest coast.
What does your mother know? She's 80 years old. She doesn't remember everything.
I know when Caitlin went, they said that she went to the little town.
And they knew her.
And they knew her. They said she looked like a Flord.
So, see?
Like a little French girl. She does look like a little French girl, but but you know, at my old
All right.
changed
And I got
spelling
to
of the last name.
Who's Caitlin? Whose child is Caitlin?
Mark, my brother Mark.
He changed it.
All right, she's the one that got married not long ago. They have a little boy.
No.
And they said what it was.
Maybe she was at the wedding. There's pictures of her smiling online, okay? And when I see her smiling, I see Caitlin, which is Gregory's.
Well, that's got to be there. Caitlin got married and had children or something.
No, Caitlin is only 21.
Yeah, all right.
But somebody, one of the crowd chicks.
No, Caitlin,
Remember,
she's
did I
still
show you
single.
that picture a long time ago?
Still single with no
Yeah,
kids.
I remember.
And I looked at her and I said, this girl smiles. She made me think of Caitlin.
Not my wife.
Yeah, I do
Diane.
remember.
Now, did you think she looked like Caitlin?
Yeah, I remember the picture you
The
showed me.
when I saw that smile, I said,
But I don't know.
that's Caitlin. So that's Gregory's child and one of the Croucher kids. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
so that means it's a Plord. It was the Plord bloodline. Yeah, where they looked alike. So why would Kate? Why would? Well,
Yeah, it's very.
but how then? Because the Crouchers don't have. I don't know. So maybe it's not the Plord thing. Because it's Crouchers.
Caitlin looks very French, though.
Yes, very French. You're Caitlin.
Yeah, like
I'm still trying to figure ours out.
well, you know, it's a funny story.
It's just been so difficult.
Funny story. Caitlin and I were getting our nails done, and she always wears her hair very dark. She dyes it black most of the time, but it's very dark anyway. And so we get our nails done, and you know, it's in a little Asian salon, and they're like, "Your daughter's Asian." I'm like,
Yeah. That's right.
"She's not Asian. She was Asian." I thought she was Asian.
Yes, seriously.
Now see, I remember her with orange hair, with lavender hair. I said, the girl has blonde hair. She makes her hair black.
I'll be back. I got to bring Bryant home.
We're gonna
okay?
call it
All right.
here.